Want to know how I form Skimboard Rocker in boards like these? Stay tuned for the upcoming video to find out how. Okay, welcome back to another video everybody. I'm Sam Price from oxsenterprises down here in New Zealand. This video right now is about how Skimboard Rocker is formed. Now a little while ago I put a custom board build video up and how the process of it is made and how all the boards are made, and I'm going to continue to do videos styled like this. Now, much to the disgust of a couple people online, I left out the part by choice, the moulding and the vacuum bagging stage. Now there's some information floating around. You can find out how to vacuum bag, mould, basically anything on the internet. I choose to leave out certain practices out of my videos because I don't want to show you exactly how I do it. Now this was the question of how we form Skimboard Rocker. Firstly, when it comes to skimboards, rocker is of course the curve in a skimboard. Now what rocker does is helps with maneuverability of the board, performance of the board. Obviously with waveboards it's really to help get you over waves. For a waveboard typically we have quite a bit of rocker in the nose and minimal in the tail. Now we run very minimal rocker in the tail because this helps with speed, helps keep the board on the surface. More rocker of course will make a more maneuverable board, but will also slow the board right down because you're starting to make it like a bit of a bowl if you wish. Now a wood board like this, a high performance wood skimboard here, the boards are much shorter, but there's quite a bit of rocker in the nose still, again just to help you with lift and getting over little ripples in the water. There's actually more tail rocker in the tail of a flatland board, one of my flatland boards, than my wave boards, purely just because it's about pop. It's usually shallow water. The tail rocker helps with sort of the leverage on the board. Now quite similar theories, quite similar yet different methods for construction and forming the rocker. I'm going to start with the wood board here. These here are made out of Formica. We have a Formica top and bottom sheet, which Formica is a very thin laminate that is basically made for kitchen bench tops. You'll see a lot of stuff like that. It's very thin, it's quite brittle when it's by itself, but it's also very, 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 very strong when it's glued to something like this here. So my a flatland board like this here has a Formica top and bottom sheet. We've got a couple layers of marine grade ply as well as a layer of fiberglass in the middle. Now, how rocker is formed in this? To my choosing specs, of course I will not give you this, and I also will not be showing you molds, but imagine you can see rocker down through the board of this. This is chosen to my specs. What I have to do to turn these dead flat materials into a curved surface is, in short, we start with flat materials. They're put on a curved bench, laminated with a resin, glued, and when the glue goes off it sets bent to the curve of that table. Now this, you could probably look up laminating wood, you can look up laminating basically anything. It's the same principle. There are certain things, like I will not give you the spec of my table, I will not really show the mold. It is very simple. Picture it just like a sandwich. Imagine the mold's a piece of bread and it's just curved and made to however you choose. You can essentially laminate wood. I mean, you could laminate two pieces of wood between your hands with a curve like this if you were prepared to sit there for 5 hours. So, and of course when the resin goes off, it's just glued bent. Now the wave boards, I would say flatland boards are very simple. They go in a press, everything is glued inside. It basically comes out and sandwiched and looks pretty, and the board's damn near close to finished. With a wave board such as this, we're starting with a flat foam material. Now the rocker in one of these is very different to a surfboard, whereas the rocker is actually shaped out of the foam, so it's a curved blank from factory. These start as flat foam. There is no stringer in them. There is no anything like that to be inserted into the board to actually hold the board straight. That is of course the whole lamination and the manufacturing process of this board is what holds it straight. Now I grabbed a couple of these offcuts. This is to explain it. This is some high density foam. This is very similar to the stuff that's in this. This is also fiberglass, as a lot of you would know, and this is what the boards are made out of. So picture this, These are not my cloth weights. I run multiple layers on each side. Once again, I will not be showing you the mold. I will not be showing vacuum processes, and I will also not be showing you cloth weights. This is all probably differs a little bit between manufacturer. This is all usually their custom specs. A lot of the time it's information that they will not give up, purely because it has their own little tweaks, and it's the same for myself. I will not give up my entire vacuum process. I will not give up mold specs, nothing. But picture this. This is a skimboard in very rough, practical form for this video. We have fiberglass on the top, we have fiberglass on the bottom, we have foam in the middle. Now, to whatever specs you're going for, if you want 1.5 inches of nose rocker, very minimal tail rocker, the table that this is laminated down to looks like that. And what it looks like is probably the easiest way to describe it as a bigger skimboard. It has the same curve, it has a slightly bigger shape, so we can laminate them down. And what happens here is that when we run a vacuum, a vacuum is applied to remove excess resin, air, help with forming, or once again you can probably look up vacuum bagging. It's not very hard to find on the internet. There's about 1 million videos on YouTube. I believe there may be a couple floating around for skimboards, but not from any skimboard manufacturers. So what happens is, chosen specs, we've got our mold prepped, we've got all our fiberglass or carbon, whatever it is, cut out, everything's ready to go. So we start laying up fiberglass down below with an epoxy resin. The foam goes in, then we lay the resin out on the cloth on the top. So what happens when the board comes under vacuum, we pull vacuum in it, we run a plastic bag over the top, pulls a seal, and it presses everything down onto that table. Now what that does is, you can imagine in the middle, the foam, if you've got it curves, it's obviously a longer board is much easier to curve, and then it is held there under pressure by the vacuum while the resin goes off for X amount of hours, however long it takes. Again, probably differs manufacturer to manufacturer. The fiberglass goes hard, the carbon fiber goes hard, whatever we're using in there. And then once the vacuum comes off and the resin's set, the board is then cured forever in that bent chosen state. Now, I believe each manufacturer probably has a lot of tips, tricks, and secrets like myself that they don't want to give up. That is pretty much just a general gist of how Skimboard Rocker is formed and how sort of fiberglass molds in general happen. Now, I've been making skimboards down here in New Zealand since 2008 and have a full range from beginner wood boards, high performance wood boards, high performance wave boards, pretty much everything that I've got online. That is of course at oxsenterprises.com. So if you're interested in having a little look, I can supply you with pretty much anything all the way through to custom carbon fiber skimboards. Feel free to drop any more questions down below that you may want to know about skimboards. Please remember that a lot of this manufacturing process is kept in secrecy, so I will not be showing you 100% how to make a skimboard, but I will be updating this channel with more board builds and board ideas and stuff like that. So feel free to subscribe. I hope that helps a few of you out there. I'm Sam Price. I'll see you at the beach.